There is a quiet truth within you that has never changed. Even when your circumstances changed, even when your confidence disappeared, even when people failed to see your value, even when money felt distant, love felt conditional, opportunities felt delayed, and your own mind whispered that perhaps abundance was meant for other people but not for you. That truth is this: you are worthy of receiving abundance, not because you have proven yourself to the world, not because you have suffered enough, not because you have achieved enough, not because you have become perfect enough, but because worth is not something the world grants you after a long performance. Worth is the original condition of your being. Worth is woven into your soul before the first applause, before the first rejection, before the first success, before the first failure, before the first person taught you to question the sacredness of your own life. Abundance is not merely money, though money may be one of its expressions. Abundance is the movement of life through open channels. It is breath entering the body without invoice. It is sunlight touching the earth without discrimination. It is the tree producing fruit without shame. It is the ocean offering waves again and again, never pausing to ask whether it is allowed to be vast. Abundance is the generosity built into creation. The flower does not apologize for blooming. The river does not feel guilty for flowing. The stars do not dim themselves because the night is already full. And yet human beings, blessed with consciousness and imagination, often stand before the infinite generosity of life and say, I do not know if I am allowed to receive. Somewhere along the way, many of us were taught that receiving is dangerous. We learned that wanting more was selfish, that having more meant taking from someone else, that rest must be earned through exhaustion, that love must be earned through performance, that prosperity must be justified through struggle, that goodness is measured by how much we deny ourselves. And so we began to confuse poverty of spirit with humility, self-rejection with virtue, depletion with service, and chronic struggle with moral worth. But the divine does not ask you to hate yourself in order to be holy. Life does not require your smallness as proof of your goodness. A candle does not bless the room by refusing to burn. A well does not serve the village by staying empty. You do not help the world by remaining unavailable to the abundance that could move through you. To say, I am worthy of abundance is not arrogance. It is alignment. Arrogance says, I deserve more than others because I am separate and superior. Alignment says, I am willing to receive because life is generous and I am part of life. Arrogance hoards. Alignment circulates. Arrogance compares. Alignment blesses. Arrogance needs to be above. Alignment is rooted within. When you know you are worthy, you do not need to diminish anyone else. You do not need to envy. You do not need to grasp. You do not need to prove. You become like a tree, deeply rooted, openly receiving, naturally giving. The trouble is that the ego has created many stories around abundance. The ego says, if I receive, I may lose it. If I prosper, people may judge me. If I become visible, I may be rejected. If I have more, I may become less spiritual. If life becomes easier, I may become weak. If I accept help, I am inadequate. If I allow blessings, I will owe something painful in return. These stories may feel personal, but they are often inherited. They come from families, cultures, religions misunderstood through fear, economic hardship, old wounds, and generations of people who learned to survive by expecting scarcity. But inherited fear is not spiritual law. A belief repeated for years does not become truth simply because it is familiar. You can love those who taught you scarcity without continuing to worship scarcity. You can honor your ancestors without repeating their limitations. You can be grateful for the resilience that hardship built in you while still deciding that hardship will not be your only teacher. You are allowed to be the one who breaks the agreement with lack. You are allowed to be the one who says, the pattern ends here. I will no longer confuse struggle with loyalty. I will no longer feel guilty for being blessed. I will no longer shrink my life to make wounded people comfortable. I will no longer make scarcity my identity. Abundance begins in consciousness before it appears in form. This does not mean you ignore practical reality. It means you stop making your current condition the final authority over your future. There is a difference between looking at your circumstances honestly and bowing down to them spiritually. You may see a bank account, a bill, a delay, a closed door, a difficult season, and you may act responsibly with what is in front of you. But do not let the visible become the border of the possible. The seed underground sees only darkness. yet something within it knows to rise. The dawn is invisible at midnight, yet the earth is already turning toward light. Your present conditions may be real, but they are not the whole of reality. There is a creative field beneath appearances, and your consciousness participates in that field. If you believe you are unworthy, you will unconsciously resist receiving. You may push away opportunities, undercharge for your gifts, sabotage progress, ignore support, feel guilty when life becomes good, or cling to environments that confirm your smallness. Not because you are foolish, but because the subconscious seeks what feels familiar. If scarcity has been your emotional home, abundance may feel foreign at first. If you were praised only for sacrifice, receiving may feel selfish. If love came with conditions, blessings may feel suspicious. This is why becoming available to abundance is not only financial work, it is healing work, it is identity work, it is spiritual remembrance. You must learn to say yes without shame, yes to support, yes to opportunity, yes to rest, yes to money earned with integrity, yes to love that does not require you to disappear, yes to beauty, yes to expansion, yes to the life that calls you beyond mere survival, yes to being held, yes to being helped, yes to being seen, yes to being supplied, yes to being guided. The soul knows how to receive. It is the ego, wounded by fear, that believes receiving is unsafe. Look at the natural world and you will see receiving everywhere. The soil receives the rain, the leaves receive the sun, the lungs receive the air, the infant receives care without embarrassment. The body receives nourishment, the night receives the moon. The shore receives the tide. Nothing in nature says I must prove I am worthy before life can move through me. Nature lives by circulation. Giving and receiving are one motion. The tree receives from the earth and gives oxygen, shade, fruit, shelter, beauty. The river receives from the mountain and gives life to the valley. Your life is meant to work the same way. When you receive consciously, gratefully, and generously, you become part of the circulation of good. But if you block receiving, you also limit giving. The person who refuses to receive love eventually gives from emptiness and calls it devotion. The person who refuses abundance may romanticize struggle while secretly resenting those they serve. The person who refuses rest gives tired energy to sacred work. The person who refuses help turns life into an exhausting performance of independence. To receive is not to become selfish. To receive is to become replenished, and what is replenished can overflow. An empty cup cannot pour, a dry well cannot nourish, a closed hand cannot give or receive. Abundance requires openness, and openness requires trust. Trust does not mean you know exactly how everything will unfold. Trust means you are willing to stop declaring the future hopeless simply because the present is unfinished. Trust means you take aligned action while allowing life to surprise you. Trust means you bless what is here while becoming available for what is coming. Trust means you stop speaking to yourself as though you are abandoned by creation. Every time you say, "Nothing ever works out for me, I never have enough, people like me cannot prosper, life is unfair, I am always behind," you are not only describing pain, you are rehearsing an identity. And the subconscious listens, the body listens. Your choices listen. Your attention begins searching for proof of the sentence you keep repeating. Begin speaking differently, not as denial, but as a higher discipline. Say, "I am learning to receive. I am opening to abundance in wise and loving ways. I am willing to be guided to opportunities that bless me and others. I release the belief that struggle is my destiny. I bless the circulation of money, love, ideas, health, support, and grace. I am worthy of being supplied. I am safe to prosper. I am safe to receive. I am safe to give from overflow." Let the words become seeds. Let them enter not only your mind, but your nervous system. Breathe them into the body. Let worthiness become familiar. You may feel resistance when you speak these truths. That is not failure. It is the old programming becoming visible. If a voice inside says, "Who do you think you are?" to receive more. Answer gently, "I am a child of life. I am an expression of the divine. I am not asking to take from anyone. I am becoming available to what can move through me." If a voice says you do not deserve abundance because of your mistakes, answer, "I am willing to learn from the past, but I will not make shame my permanent identity." If a voice says money will make you less spiritual, answer, "Unconsciousness can misuse anything, but love can use abundance for healing, service, freedom, beauty, and good." If a voice says, people will judge you, answer, I release the need to be understood by those committed to limitation. I choose alignment over approval. This is where inner freedom begins. You stop allowing the opinions of wounded people to become spiritual commandments. Some people may be uncomfortable with your abundance because your expansion exposes their agreement with smallness. Some may call you selfish because you no longer abandon yourself. Some may call you changed because you no longer fit into the role that made them comfortable. Let them. You do not need to become poor in spirit to prove you are kind. You do not need to dim your light to comfort those who fear their own. You can be compassionate without being controlled. You can be generous without being depleted. You can succeed without becoming arrogant. You can receive without becoming greedy. You can prosper and remain tender. You can expand and remain humble. True abundance is never separate from gratitude. Gratitude is the doorway through which abundance becomes visible. When you live in complaint, you train the mind to see absence. When you live in gratitude, you train the mind to see supply. This does not mean pretending that challenges do not exist. It means refusing to insult the present moment while asking it to become the doorway to your future. Bless the little, bless the beginning. Bless the roof, the meal, the breath, the idea, the friendship, the lesson, the skill, the opportunity, the one person who believes in you, the one door that is open. What you bless, you become intimate with. What you curse, you remain divided from. Gratitude does not make you passive, it makes you receptive. A grateful person can still work, build, negotiate, learn, create, invest, grow, and pursue a greater vision. But they do it from fullness rather than desperation. Desperation grasps. Gratitude allows. Desperation says, I must get this or I am nothing. Gratitude says, I am already held and I am willing to grow. Desperation turns dreams into burdens. Gratitude turns dreams into sacred invitations. The energy from which you pursue abundance determines how you experience it when it arrives. If you chase abundance from fear, you may possess more and still feel poor. If you receive abundance from worthiness, even small increases become evidence of grace and larger blessings become tools for service. You must also release guilt around money. Money is not evil. Money is a form of energy, a symbol of exchange, a tool, a servant. Like language, it can be used to bless or harm. Like fire, it can warm a home or burn one down. The problem is not money itself. The problem is unconsciousness, greed, fear, and identification. If money becomes your God, it imprisons you. If money becomes your shame, it imprisons you. If money becomes your servant, aligned with wisdom and love, it can support freedom, nourishment, creativity, generosity, education, healing, rest, and purpose. Do not give money more spiritual power than it deserves. Do not worship it, do not fear it, do not hate it. Relate to it consciously. Bless money as it comes. Bless money as it goes. When you pay a bill, instead of tightening in resentment, pause and say, thank you for the service this represents. May this money bless everyone it touches. May it return in ways aligned with good. When you receive money, do not reject it inwardly. Say, I receive with gratitude. I use with wisdom. I circulate with love. This may seem simple, but it shifts the emotional relationship. Scarcity tightens the body. Gratitude opens it. Fear contracts the mind. Trust expands it. A tense receiver often spills blessings, but an open receiver can steward them. Stewardship is essential because abundance is not only about receiving more, it is about becoming trustworthy with what flows through you. The question is not merely, can I get abundance? The deeper question is, can abundance move through me without my consciousness collapsing into fear, ego, waste, guilt, or attachment? Can I receive and remain generous? Can I prosper and remain grounded? Can I have more and still be guided by love? Can I let resources support my calling rather than become a substitute for my soul? Can I allow comfort without forgetting compassion? Can I become a channel rather than a container? The ego wants to hoard because the ego believes there is never enough. The soul circulates because the soul knows life is movement. This does not mean careless giving. Conscious generosity is not self-abandonment. It is not giving to be liked, giving from guilt, giving beyond wisdom, or rescuing others from lessons that belong to them. True generosity flows from overflow and discernment. It gives because giving is an expression of inner abundance, not a strategy for earning worth. When you give consciously, you affirm circulation. When you receive consciously, you affirm circulation. The breath itself teaches this. You cannot only inhale, You cannot only exhale. Life requires both. Some of you have become excellent at exhaling. You give, serve, support, listen, carry, sacrifice, fix, encourage, provide, pray, and hold space for others. But when life tries to inhale through you, when support comes back, when someone offers help, when opportunity appears, when love knocks, when money arrives, you close. You say, no, I am fine. You say, I do not need anything. You say, I should not ask. You say, I must handle it alone. But the breath of life is incomplete without receiving. Let yourself inhale. Let yourself be loved. Let yourself be assisted. Let yourself be paid well for honest work. Let yourself be nourished. Let yourself be blessed without immediately trying to earn the blessing through exhaustion. You are already enough. This truth is difficult for the ego because the ego survives by creating distance between who you are and who you think you must become. It says, when you achieve more, then you will be enough. When you heal completely, then you will be enough. When you have more money, then you will be enough. When others approve, then you will be enough. But the soul says you are enough now, and from that enoughness, grow. Enoughness is not the end of growth. It is the foundation for healthy growth. A tree does not grow because it hates being a seed. It grows because growth is its nature. You do not need self-hatred to evolve. You need light, nourishment, patience, and alignment. When abundance is pursued from not enoughness, it becomes addictive. No amount satisfies because the inner wound keeps moving the finish line. More money, more praise, more status, more admiration, more possessions, more control, and still the ego whispers, not enough. But when abundance is received from inner worth, it becomes peaceful. You can enjoy without clinging. You can build without obsessing. You can lose without losing yourself. You can gain without becoming possessed by what you gain. This is freedom. There's a metaphysical principle that what you identify with expands in your experience. If you identify with lack, lack becomes your lens. If you identify with support, support becomes easier to notice. If you identify with worthiness, you act differently, speak differently, choose differently, negotiate differently, love differently, receive differently. Your self-concept becomes the invisible boundary of your life. The world may offer you a larger room, but if your identity is small, you will keep returning to the corner. So expand the self-concept, not through arrogance, but through remembrance. I am not a beggar before life. I am a participant in divine circulation. I am not here to steal abundance. I am here to express, receive, create, serve, and bless. I am not separate from the source of good. I am connected to it. This connection is your real abundance. Before any outer form arrives, know the source. If you become attached only to the form, you will live in fear of losing it. If you know the source, forms can come and go, and you remain rooted. Jobs may change like that. The same life that opened one door can open a door you did not know existed. The same wisdom that guided you through one valley can guide you through the next. Abundance is not one stream, it is the nature of the spring. When you meditate on abundance, do not begin with numbers, begin with source. Sit quietly and feel the life that is already given. Breath, awareness, imagination, love, the capacity to learn, the ability to begin again, the presence that holds you. Let the body soften. Let the mind stop fighting. Feel that you are not outside the circle of life. You are inside it. You belong to the same universe that produces galaxies, oceans, forests, music, compassion, and new beginnings. You are not an exception to divine generosity. Let that feeling enter you. The feeling of belonging is the foundation of receiving. Many people cannot receive abundance because deep down they feel separate. Separate from God, separate from life, separate from others, separate from worth, separate from possibility. Separation creates fear. Fear creates contraction. Contraction blocks circulation. The healing is union. Remembering that you are connected. Remembering that your good does not have to mean someone else's loss. Remembering that life has countless channels. Remembering that you can receive and still be loving. Remembering that you can prosper and still be spiritually awake. Remembering that abundance is not something you must wrestle from a reluctant universe. It is something you align with by becoming available, grateful, responsible, and open. Law of attraction is not merely about thinking positive thoughts. It is about becoming internally congruent with what you say you desire. If you desire abundance but feel guilty receiving it, there is division. If you desire prosperity but speak constantly of lack, there is division. If you desire support but reject help, there is division. If you desire a generous life but act from fear, there is division. Alignment asks you to bring thought, feeling, speech, and action into harmony. Think abundance, feel gratitude, speak possibility, act wisely, receive openly, give consciously, rest without guilt, work with devotion. This harmony becomes magnetic because it is whole. But remember, abundance is not an excuse to bypass pain. If you are grieving, grieve. If you are afraid, breathe with the fear. If you carry old shame, bring it into compassion. You do not become abundant by denying the wounded places. You become abundant by healing the places that were trained to expect deprivation. Sit with a part of you that believes it must struggle. Ask where it learned that. Sit with a part of you that feels guilty receiving. Ask whose voice it carries. Sit with a part of you that fears being judged. Ask what approval it is still trying to earn. These inner conversations are holy. They remove the hidden blocks not through force, but through love. The soul does not need to be convinced of worthiness. The soul knows. It is the personality that forgets. The soul knows you came from abundance. The soul knows you are held in abundance. The soul knows your life has purpose beyond mere survival. The soul knows that receiving is part of the sacred rhythm. The soul knows that your gifts are not accidents. The soul knows that your desire for expansion may be life calling itself forward through you. When you become quiet, you can feel this knowing. It does not shout. It does not flatter. It simply says open to ideas. Sometimes abundance comes first as an idea, a quiet thought, an inspiration, a creative solution, a different way to offer your gifts. Do not dismiss the small idea because it does not arrive wearing gold. Many great rivers begin as hidden springs, open to people. Sometimes abundance comes as a conversation, a mentor, a collaborator, a friend, a stranger whose words shift your path. Open to skills. Sometimes abundance comes through learning what your next level requires. Open to discipline. Sometimes abundance comes through consistent action that seems ordinary until it compounds. Open to rest. Sometimes abundance comes when the exhausted mind finally becomes clear. Open to endings. Sometimes abundance comes disguised as a door closing because the room was too small for your soul. You must stop deciding how abundance is allowed to arrive. The ego has narrow pathways. The divine has infinite channels. You may think it must come through one job, one person, one opportunity, one plan, one timeline. But life may have 1,000 ways to bless you that your current imagination cannot see. Your role is not to control every channel. Your role is to become aligned, awake, prepared, receptive, and willing to act when guidance appears. Hold the essence. Release the obsession with form. Say, I welcome abundance in ways known and unknown, expected and unexpected, through channels aligned with love, wisdom, and the highest good. Patience is part of receiving, not passive waiting, but faithful ripening. The seed does not become fruit instantly. The soil works in darkness. Roots form before branches. The invisible supports the visible. You may be in a root season. Do not curse it. Do not call yourself forgotten because the fruit has not appeared. Continue tending the soil. Continue choosing thoughts of worth. Continue taking aligned action. Continue learning. Continue healing. Continue showing up. The harvest is not proof that the seed began growing. Growth began long before the harvest was visible. And while you wait, stop rehearsing fear. Waiting can either deepen trust or deepen anxiety. The choice is in your attention. If every delay becomes evidence of abandonment, you program the subconscious for lack. If every delay becomes an invitation to strengthen faith, refine action, and deepen worthiness, you become more available to receive. The mind may ask, when will it happen? The soul asks, who am I becoming as it unfolds? The ego wants the blessing immediately because it believes the blessing will finally create peace. The soul cultivates peace now and becomes a clearer vessel for the blessing. Abundance also requires releasing comparison. Nothing poisons receiving like comparison. When you compare, you leave your own lane and enter a false courtroom. You look at another person's visible harvest and judge your hidden roots. You see their public chapter and condemn your private preparation. You make their timing an accusation against yours. But another person's abundance is not evidence of your exclusion. The sun shining through one window does not mean there is no light for another. Bless those who prosper, bless those who rise, bless those who receive. Every time you bless abundance in another, you tell your subconscious that abundance is safe, good, and welcome. Every time you resent it, you train yourself to associate abundance with bitterness. Say, if it can happen for them, it is evidence of possibility. May they be blessed. May I be blessed. May all beings awaken to supply. This does not make you passive. It frees your energy from envy and returns it to creation. Envy says, why them? Inspiration says, what is possible for me? Envy contracts. Blessing expands. The abundant heart can celebrate without feeling diminished. You must also be willing to receive in the form of responsibility. Some people say they want abundance, but they do not want the stewardship, discipline, visibility, decisions, boundaries, learning, and maturity that come with it. Every blessing has a structure that can hold it. Love requires emotional maturity. Money requires wisdom. Opportunity requires readiness. Influence requires integrity. Creativity requires devotion. If you ask for abundance, also ask to become the kind of person who can carry abundance without losing alignment. Ask for character with prosperity. Ask for wisdom with opportunity. Ask for humility with success. Ask for generosity with increase. Ask for discernment with open doors. This is how abundance becomes spiritual rather than egoic. You do not simply ask, how can I get more? You ask, how can more life move through me in a way that blesses? How can my receiving serve awakening? How can my prosperity create freedom, beauty, healing, contribution, and peace? How can my gifts become useful? How can my resources reflect love? These questions lift abundance out of greed and return it to sacred circulation. There is no holiness in needless deprivation. There is holiness in right relationship. You can have a beautiful home and a humble heart. You can earn well and give generously. You can enjoy comfort and remain compassionate. You can receive deeply and serve sincerely. You can become prosperous without making prosperity your identity. The key is not the amount. The key is consciousness. A person can have little and be obsessed with money. A person can have much and be free. A person can have little and be generous. A person can have much and be terrified. The spiritual question is not only what do you possess, but what possesses you. Let abundance pass through the heart before it reaches the hand. Let love govern your increase. Let gratitude soften your ambition. Let wisdom guide your spending. Let purpose shape your work. Let generosity keep the channel open. Let silence keep you connected to source. Let forgiveness release the old contracts with lack. Let self-worth become the ground beneath every choice. You are worthy of receiving abundance, but you may need to practice receiving because the old pattern of refusal can be strong. Start with small things. Receive a compliment without deflecting it. Say thank you and let it enter. Receive help without apologizing for needing it. Receive rest without calling yourself lazy. Receive beauty without rushing past it. Receive a meal with gratitude. Receive silence. Receive kindness. Receive money without guilt. Receive an opportunity without immediately listing why you are not ready. These small acts teach the body that receiving is safe. Notice how often you block. Someone praises you and you say, oh, it was nothing. Someone offers help and you say, no, I'm fine, even when you are tired. Life gives you a quiet moment and you fill it with worry. A door opens and you search for the catch. A blessing arrives and you fear losing it before enjoying it. Do not judge yourself. Simply notice, then choose again. Say, I allow this good. I receive with gratitude. I do not have to push blessing away to remain humble. I do not have to minimize myself to be loved. Humility is not self-denial. Humility is accurate seeing. It recognizes that all gifts come through you, not merely from you. It says, I am grateful to be a channel. I am grateful to participate. I am grateful for the intelligence, people, opportunities, and grace that support my life. Humility does not reject abundance. It receives abundance without arrogance. It knows the source. It bows inwardly, not in shame, but in reverence. Your worthiness is not canceled by your past. This must be said clearly. There may be choices you regret. There may be seasons when you lived unconsciously. There may be opportunities you wasted, money you mishandled, relationships you damaged, years you spent in fear. Learn from them. Make amends where you can. Grow. But do not use the past as a life sentence. The divine does not require endless self-punishment before allowing renewal. Every dawn is a sermon on grace. The day returns, not because yesterday was perfect, but because life believes in beginning again. Forgive yourself for the times you rejected abundance because you did not feel worthy. Forgive yourself for underestimating your gifts. Forgive yourself for letting fear speak louder than guidance. Forgive yourself for associating receiving with danger. Forgive yourself for staying small to remain accepted. Forgive yourself for repeating scarcity patterns you inherited before you understood them. Then say, I choose differently now. I do not need to hate who I was to become who I am called to be. I bless the former self and release the former agreement. There is a deeper abundance than possessions, and when you touch it, possessions find their proper place. The deepest abundance is the awareness that you are connected to Source. It is the peace of knowing that your being is not empty. It is the freedom of not needing outer things to prove inner worth. It is the joy of participating in life. It is the capacity to love, imagine, create, forgive, begin again, and serve. Outer abundance without inner abundance becomes anxiety. Inner abundance can receive outer abundance without being enslaved by it. So cultivate inner abundance daily. Begin with gratitude. Enter silence. Speak words that bless. Move your body as though it is worthy of care. Create something. Give something. Learn something. Release one resentment. Take one step toward your dream. Clean one corner of your life. Pay attention to beauty. Honor your gifts. Ask for guidance. Act on the guidance you receive. These are not small practices. They are spiritual signals. They tell life, I am participating. I am available. I am no longer living as a closed system of fear. You will know you are healing your relationship with abundance when you can be happy for others without shrinking, when you can receive without guilt, when you can charge or ask with clarity, when you can say no without fear of losing love, when you can rest without self-attack, when you can give without resentment, when you can save without panic, when you can spend with wisdom, when you can dream without apology, when you can enjoy beauty without feeling unspiritual, when you can say thank you and let the blessing land. And as you become more available, do not be surprised if life begins to rearrange. You may feel drawn to different people, different work, different habits, different conversations. You may no longer tolerate environments where lack is worshipped and possibility is mocked. You may feel called to learn, build, speak, create, teach, lead, serve, or finally honor a gift you buried. Abundance often begins as a disruption of what was familiar. The old pattern will call you back. It will say, who are you to change? Who are you to receive? Who are you to rise? Answer with quiet strength. I am the one who is willing to become available to the good that life can do through me. You do not have to become someone else to receive abundance. You have to stop being loyal to the false identity that says you are excluded from it. The false identity was built from fear, memory, comparison, shame, and conditioning. The true self is already connected. The true self does not beg for worth. The true self does not apologize for existing. The true self does not hoard blessings or reject them. It receives and gives in rhythm. It knows that abundance is not a personal trophy, but a sacred flow. Imagine for a moment that life is offering you a cup, not demanding, not forcing, simply offering. In that cup is support, opportunity, love, creativity, wisdom, money, healing, rest, courage, guidance, and possibility. Now notice your hands. Are they open or are they clenched around old pain? Are they available or are they holding resentment? Are they ready or are they busy gripping the story of why nothing can change? You do not need to shame the clenched hands. They clenched because they were afraid, but now gently, slowly, consciously, you can open them. You can say, I am willing to receive. I am willing to let life be kinder than my past. I am willing to let good arrive without suspicion. I am willing to become a channel of abundance. Let those words settle deeply. I am willing. Sometimes willingness is enough to begin the shift. You may not feel fully worthy yet. Be willing to feel worthy. You may not fully trust abundance yet. Be willing to trust. You may not know how the door will open. Be willing to be guided. You may not know how to release all fear. Be willing to stop obeying it completely. Willingness is a crack in the wall through which light enters. And as the light enters, keep returning to the truth. You are worthy of receiving abundance. Not someday, not only when you fix every flaw, not only when everyone approves, not only when your past is spotless, now. You are worthy now. You are worthy while learning, worthy while healing, worthy while beginning again, worthy while becoming disciplined, worthy while growing in wisdom, worthy before the result, worthy after the mistake, worthy in the quiet, worthy in the waiting, worthy in the unseen season, worthy because your essence was never diminished by your experience. This worthiness does not make you entitled to avoid effort. It makes your effort clean. You work not to become worthy, but because you are worthy of honoring your potential. You learn not because you are inadequate, but because your soul enjoys expansion. You create not because you need applause, but because life moves through creativity. You earn not because money defines you, but because resources can support freedom and service. You receive not because you are better than anyone, but because you are part of the same abundant life that gives to all according to openness, alignment, and readiness. Open now, in your mind, in your heart, in your body. Release the old vow of struggle. Release the belief that you must suffer to be good. Release the guilt that rises when life blesses you. Release the fear that abundance will make you lose yourself. Release the identity of the one who is always overlooked, always behind, always unsupported. Bless that old self and let it rest. It carried you as far as it could, but now a new identity is calling. Say within yourself, I am available to receive abundance in all forms that serve my highest good and the good of others. I welcome love without losing myself. I welcome money with wisdom and gratitude. I welcome opportunities aligned with purpose. I welcome support without shame. I welcome rest as sacred. I welcome beauty as nourishment. I welcome guidance as a daily companion. I welcome expansion with humility. I welcome the life that my soul is ready to live, and then live like someone who means it. Notice opportunities, honor your gifts, speak truthfully about your value, stop apologizing for your growth, create space for what you desire, pay attention to your inner guidance, take the step that abundance requires. Do not merely affirm open doors while refusing to walk toward them. Do not merely pray for increase while living in disorganization and fear. Bring order where you can. Bring love where you are. Bring excellence to what is in your hands. The universe often entrusts more to the one who honors the little. If all you have today is a small beginning, bless it. If all you have is one idea, bless it. If all you have is one contact, one skill, 1 hour, one room, one page, one prayer, one breath, bless it. Abundance is not offended by small beginnings. The forest begins in a seed, the symphony begins in a note. The healing begins in one honest tear. The new life begins in one decision. Do not despise the seed because it does not yet look like shade. There will be moments when fear says, what if it does not happen? Answer, then I will still remain connected to source. There will be moments when fear says, what if I lose it? Answer, then I will still have the wisdom that guided me once and can guide me again. There will be moments when fear says, what if people judge me? Answer, I choose alignment over approval. There will be moments when fear says, what if I am not enough? Answer, I was born enough, and I am growing from that truth. The path of abundance is ultimately the path of returning to your true relationship with life. You stop seeing life as an enemy withholding good and begin seeing it as a field inviting participation. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of lack and begin seeing yourself as a conscious steward of energy. You stop seeing receiving as selfish and begin seeing it as part of circulation. You stop seeing prosperity as separate from spirituality and begin seeing that any resource held in love can become sacred. Let abundance heal your nervous system. Let it teach you that peace can be normal. Let it teach you that support can be safe. Let it teach you that joy does not need to be followed by punishment. Let it teach you that good can stay. Let it teach you that you can hold more without becoming less loving. Let it teach you that you can expand without betraying your soul. You are worthy of receiving abundance because you are worthy of life. You are worthy of air, light, nourishment, love, guidance, opportunity, beauty, rest, joy, and meaningful work. You are worthy of being paid for your gifts. You are worthy of relationships that honor your spirit. You are worthy of a home that feels peaceful. You are worthy of a body treated with kindness. You are worthy of ideas that excite you. You are worthy of mornings that do not begin in dread. You are worthy of evenings that do not end in self-condemnation. You are worthy of a life that feels like participation in grace. And the moment you begin to believe this, not as a fragile affirmation, but as a deep remembrance, your life begins to shift. Perhaps first in subtle ways, you stop rejecting compliments. You stop saying yes when your soul says no. You stop calling your dreams unrealistic just because they require courage. You stop spending your energy on resentment. You stop hiding from responsibility. You stop treating money as an enemy. You stop mistaking exhaustion for importance. You stop shrinking. Then the outer shifts follow. Different choices, different conversations, different opportunities, different standards, different results. The inner permission becomes outer movement. Do not rush the process. Let worthiness become embodied. Let abundance become normal in your nervous system. Let receiving become peaceful. Let giving become joyful. Let money become a tool. Let love become safe. Let rest become sacred. Let growth become natural. Let your life become a channel. And whenever you forget, return. When scarcity speaks, return. When guilt rises, return. When comparison appears, return. When old shame knocks, return. Return to the breath. Return to gratitude. Return to source. Return to the truth that you are not separate from the abundance of life. Return to the quiet, knowing that your good does not diminish anyone else's good. Return to the wisdom that what is received with love can be multiplied through love. You are not here to live as a locked door. You are here to open. You are not here to prove that you can survive on crumbs. You are here to learn how to receive bread and share it wisely. You are not here to make scarcity holy. You are here to make abundance conscious. You are not here to apologize for the gifts placed within you. You are here to unwrap them, develop them, offer them, and allow them to support a life of meaning. So let this be the moment you stop asking whether you are allowed to receive. Let this be the moment you stop making your wounds the gatekeepers of your blessings. Let this be the moment you stop confusing humility with hiding. Let this be the moment you stop telling life no while praying for yes. Let this be the moment you open your hands. Abundance is not far from you in the way fear has claimed. It begins here in the inner yes. Yes, I am worthy. Yes, I am willing. Yes, I receive. Yes, I give. Yes, I trust. Yes, I act. Yes, I release. Yes, I allow. Yes, I remember. And as this yes deepens, life begins to move through places in you that were once closed. The river finds new channels. The light enters old rooms. The soil softens. The seed awakens. You are worthy of receiving abundance. Let that sentence become a sanctuary. Let it become a new home for your mind. Let it become the prayer beneath your choices. Let it become the standard in your relationships, the tone in your work, the wisdom in your finances, the softness in your body, the courage in your dreams, and the gratitude in your mornings. You are worthy not because the world finally agreed, but because the divine never disagreed. You are worthy not because your life has been easy, but because your soul is sacred. You are worthy not because you have no wounds, but because wounds do not cancel essence. Receive then. Receive the breath, receive the day, receive the lesson, receive the help, receive the love, receive the opportunity, receive the prosperity, receive the healing, receive the silence, receive the guidance, receive the beautiful burden of becoming a person through whom abundance can bless the world. And when abundance comes, let it not stop with you. Let it make you kinder. Let it make you freer. Let it make you more generous, more awake, more available, more creative, more peaceful, more useful to love. This is the sacred rhythm. Receive from source, become full, give from overflow, and remain open to receive again. In this rhythm, there is no shame, there is no greed, there is no fear. There is only circulation, there is only life moving. There is only the soul remembering that it was never meant to live clenched and guarded, but open, rooted, grateful, and free. And so, quietly now, beneath all the old noise, beneath every inherited limitation, beneath every fear that tried to name you, hear the truth again. You are worthy of receiving abundance. You are worthy of being supported by life. You are worthy of blessings that do not require self-betrayal. You are worthy of prosperity that aligns with peace. You are worthy of love that honors your soul. You are worthy of a life that expands from the inside out. Open to it, prepare for it, act from it, give through it, rest in it, and let the abundance that has always belonged to the nature of life finally find an open channel through you.